Don't Look Up, the big Netflix awards film from Adam McKay with an all-star cast, is currently rotten on Rotten Tomatoes with a 55% score as of my filming this review. I'm about to help it out, though, with a freshie. But when I first saw that score, it was before I watched the movie. I got a screener, and it made me worry that maybe the film was no good. And I was really looking forward to it, so I was kind of bummed when I saw that RT score. But actually, it's just Adam McKay being Adam McKay. He is a overly aggressive comedian, which is not for everybody. However, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. This aggressive, pull no punches, take no prisoners, comedic commentary is right up my alley. And I literally laughed heartily out loud several times while watching this movie. It's very funny. It's searingly hilarious. But not everybody likes to have a mirror held up to themselves and to the world they live in. It's depressing. It's true. But Adam McKay takes shots at everyone, and you have to be able to laugh it off and realize that McKay isn't always condemning everything that he makes fun of, and he's sometimes just asking us to realize and admit that this is the way things are. I mean, at least that's how I see it, and McKay should welcome that perspective because it seems all the other perspectives are really negative. So he should be like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'll tell you a side story to help illustrate this. This actually happened. This is a true story that happened to me. I once showed someone, it wasn't a close friend, but it was someone I was friendly with. I showed them a funny cartoon that I'd come across that said it sure is hard to soar like an eagle when you're surrounded by turkeys. And to my shock, this person didn't laugh when I showed that to them. So I just walked away, and I thought about it. There's a kind of a similar gag to that in this movie, but thinking about something. And it struck me only later that this person felt that I was saying they were one of the turkeys. I mean, who voluntarily identifies as a turkey? If you voluntarily identify as an eagle when you hear that cartoon, you will don't look up. You will laugh at it. But if you volunteer to be one of the turkeys in that scenario, then you'll probably be really offended by this film. The only real problem with the film is that Leonardo DiCaprio is horribly miscast. And I mean, Dr. Randall Mindy, who he's playing, is supposed to be hot, so I guess that's why Adam McKay wanted DiCaprio for the role so badly, and in fact did several rewrites to get the role to a place where DiCaprio would sign on, as he did. But there's lots of different ways that someone can be hot. You know, it doesn't always have to be the Leonardo DiCaprio conventional way. It was just a really bad idea to cast DiCaprio. I think he's totally unbelievable in the role for two reasons. A, I just don't buy him as a middle America astronomy professor who loves Star Wars. I mean, he can say the lines, but it just doesn't ring true to me. And B, while he's technically the right age for the role, he just doesn't look like he's the same age as his romantic interests, Melanie Linsky and Cate Blanchett. They have actors playing his two sons who look like his brothers. I'm like, what? And also, he seems around the same age as Jennifer Lawrence, rather than being her professor. Now, you might be like, why should DiCaprio be penalized for taking good care of himself? Well, that's fine, but it doesn't mean he has to play every role. He just isn't well cast. He just does. I mean, for better or worse, I think even at his age, he's close to 50, DiCaprio still doesn't look like a full-blown adult to me. So, I mean, he's great in the role. He's Leonardo freaking DiCaprio, but he's just not cast correctly. This is someone like Tom Hanks or Jason Bateman should have played. Everyone else in the cast, though, is on absolute fire. Wow! But here are my favorite performances. Jennifer Lawrence. She is used so well here. This is another role written specifically for someone, and here Adam McKay hit the bullseye. She is playing a PhD student who discovers the comet, and she's given some, McKay wrote this role, I just said, specifically for her, and he gives her some great gags throughout the film. She really made me laugh out loud a lot. McKay also explores, and I really related to this, how women are treated differently by society and the media versus men, and how she and Leonardo DiCaprio his character are treated throughout the course of the film. I'm glad that people are finally addressing this, and I thought it was really fascinating the way it was explored. And then, The great surprise of the movie is Mark Rylance as the founder of an Apple-type company called Bash. He has this childlike wonder that you so often see in these types of people, but he does such a great job of mixing in a laser-like focus and a streak of meanness. Like, he just was so good in this role. I couldn't believe it. He gives a speech to Leonardo DiCaprio that should alone get him an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, and I think even win, even though he's already won before. That's how good he is. This is deserving of a double Oscar win. And Meryl Streep's follow-up to that speech, by the way, comedy gold. Comedy gold. So true to life. Like, this is the way so many things are, and I think that it's better to know that this is what things are like than to live in a bubble of thinking that they're not. I mean, this is the way things are. Honorable mention to Streep and Jonah Hill doing a Stephen Colbert-level take on the Republican Party today. Don't Look Up actually is a lot like if The Daily Show and that kind of universe, you know, all the spin-off shows made their own movie. And because it doesn't have the myopic meanness, cruelty, I would say, in my opinion, of John Oliver's Last Week Tonight. And a little bit of what Stephen Colbert, his late show comedy, I think has a little bit more meanness as well. It's a very long movie. A heck of a lot of stuff happens, a lot of story. And there's also a decent amount of visual effects as we get an all too realistic version of what would actually happen if there was an Armageddon type scenario. There are a lot of fun cameos too that I hope nobody ruins for you. I knew some of them, but some of them were really good surprises. Obviously, the Comet situation is a metaphor for COVID. They don't dance around that, boy. But what's really interesting though is that with COVID, well, there are some issues with groups and going to work and entertainment and stuff like that, going out to eat. It's really still up to you what to do re-getting vaccinated and where you go, who you see. You know, you can kind of create your own little bubble, right? Whichever direction you decide to go in. But what's terrifying is that Don't Look Up, and wait till you see what Don't Look Up is referring to. It's so searing comedy. But this is a situation where we're all on the same ball of mud. So the stakes are much higher when the entire planet is in danger and we really are all tied together. We can't make our own decisions in our own spaces. I mean, that was terrifying. And COVID makes this movie a lot scarier and more relatable, as a comet hurtling towards Earth and us having some trouble dealing with that doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. You know, like I'd say even just two or 3 years ago, you would have thought this was a hilarious, far-fetched scenario. But now you're like, holy crap, I hope this doesn't happen. All right, so Don't Look Up is currently in theaters and hits Netflix December 24th. It's a somewhat depressing movie. It's a dark film, so I would keep that in mind when you're deciding when to watch it. Maybe you want a dark Christmas, but since it drops on Christmas Eve, this may be, in my opinion, more of a December 26th movie. I think it'll do really well between Christmas and New Year's. That's a perfect time for it. So I loved it. I absolutely loved it, but I also really liked Vice. So you'll know if this movie is for you. You know if, and I really liked The Big Short. You know if Adam McKay style humor is for you. And if it is, get ready for some belly laughs and hard truths. I loved it. Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.